I know you know me, but let's switch it up, let's switch it up, let's switch it up.
So here's your folder. You have a scene here. You have a scene, right? But what we want to do is I took my scenes that I really like, and I took those scenes and I had to take those and put those in a folder. So notice on here, I have this label all cams. So what I did was I took and I made a copy of all the cams, and I put it in another folder up here, and that is switch of all. Okay, so you take those and I distinguish them by putting a little emoji here that has like a little, arrow that moves. So it's basically saying, hey, we're going to switch, so this camera goes to the next. And these are the switcher cameras, which are a duplicate of my still shots of the cameras and the zooms. So what we want to do here is with the folder, you want to choose which cameras you want in there. Now, if you're storytelling or if you're going live, and you want it to like have some movement, if you're a solo project like myself, or if you want to have that post-production quality, you want to have that post-production look and twang. Somebody say twang. Go ahead, hashtag twang. You want to have a post-production twang while you're live. You can do that with Ecamm when the cameras are switching by themselves, and you can maintain talking about what you need to talk about, do what you need to do, and then you can have the cameras move. Now, this doesn't work for everybody because you have to put the camera exactly where you want it. But if you're at a segment where you're just doing talking and you want to use your hands and you want to utilize your multiple cameras, but you don't want to touch anything because you want to stay in a certain place, you can hit a certain button and have it do that in the folder. And so let's show you the switch folder. So here's the switch all. Remember, the switch all has the little hook on there to let us know that these are going to switch. So what happens is after you figure out what you want in the folder, you have to make sure that all the scenes are in the folder, because what's going to happen is every time it gets to the end of your timer to switch to the next scene, it's going to go to the next scene. So what happens? If this is the last scene here, once it gets on this scene here, and that is my floater, once I put a timer on there, it's going to go back up to this scene here in the folder, and it'll start the process over and over again. So let's show you what I did here. And so for this scene here, we have the 20-second timer. And this 20-second timer, after it gets done, it's going to move to the next scene. The next scene is a pull-in shot. That only goes for 8 seconds. After 8 seconds, it's going to transition and it's going to go to this scene here. Okay? And so after this 20 seconds, it's going to go to the next scene. Let's look at how we do that. Let's go to demo mode and I'll show you how this works. Okay. So we want to select over here. We'll take and hit the timer. Once we hit the timer, we just want to look at and say, hey, let's make this a 10-second timer, right? And so we put 00 there and we're going to do 10 seconds. And so after that, we want to go to the next scene. So when we go to the next scene, we're going to add it, but we want to be careful because we don't see how it looks, okay? And so because we don't see how it looks, we're going to add this here, but you don't see the timer on the screen. And so here it is. It's a small timer down here. Here's what I suggest. You want to take the timer, and because you don't want it to be seen, so it's a hidden thing. So because it's hidden, what you want to do is you want to take this timer, and it's going to be sitting right here in the middle of the screen. Now, the opacity right here is going to allow it to be seen. And so over here on your right hand side, I'll bring it over here so you can see it. Now you see this yellow timer sitting here. Okay. But what I'm going to do is, and here's what some people may not understand. You can actually take it and make it a much larger size. Okay. So if you make it large enough and you put it right smack in the middle of the screen, when you go to look for it, it's sitting there. Okay. So this would be my suggestion. Take the timer and put it right smack in the middle of the scene. Okay. I'm going to go back a scene. Here's your timer. So this is what it looks like. Your timer is going to do this. After this is done, it's going to change and it's going to move in to the next scene right there. Okay. Once it does that, it's going to keep going to next scene, next scene, next scene until it goes back to the top scene that's in the folder. So for instance, if you only have 2 scenes, it's only going to go to 2 scenes. It's going to go back and forth. If you have 3 scenes, it'll go to 3. If you have 4, it's going to go to 4 scenes. Great thing, isn't it? Okay, let me take you back to the scene so that we can show you how we get to this switch. So I think we had it on the room. Yes, we had it on the room cam. So if we go back to this room cam here, there's our big yellow timer. And so what I want to do is I want to take this timer and I'm going to stop this timer. Okay, so there's our big timer there. I'm going to stop it in this tracks. I'm going to go back. And so this is going to be set for 10 seconds for this room shot. Okay, and so here's how we do. It's the 10-second there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go and let me go to demo mode. Right in here, we're going to take and we're going to make sure that it's invisible, right? All the way to 0. And remember, we're putting it in the middle of the scene. Okay, the middle of the scene so that you don't have to search for it in a small section in the corner. Make it big because you're not going to see it anyway. Okay, and remember, you're not touching the computer. So now it is right there and you don't see it. And so when it's playing, the time is ticking and it moves. Now, here's the great thing about this, and this is what I like. You can actually take and you can copy this thing. Okay, are you ready for this? Okay, let me stop the timer. Let me go back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the timer. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to copy this timer. Okay, so here's my countdown right here. And this is a wonderful new feature in Ecamm. It's not out yet, but it is going to come. And so I can take this countdown and I can copy it, right? And then I can go to the next scene. I'm going to go to the next scene, right? And then I can paste it. I can paste it on this next scene. Look at that. Copy and paste on this next scene. And so now this next scene will have a 10-second. But here's what I want to do. I want to manipulate this. I don't want to do 10-second once I zoom in because I don't want it to sit there too long. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to 5 seconds. Okay. And so check it out. You'll see it say 5 seconds. Okay. Countdown is 5 seconds. And so in 5 seconds, that's going to move. So let's go back to and see how we've done. So here's our room, and our room is 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, it's going to switch to this next one. And then there it's going to be 5 seconds. And then it's going to go to this love cam right here. So here's our room cam. Let's give it 10 seconds. Hang on 1 second. Well, not one. It's going to take 10 seconds. And then it's going to pull the shot in. After it pulls the shot in, it's going to move itself and it goes to this scene right here. And so all of that is automatic while I'm talking. So if I'm doing a demonstration, I can have this doing the switching for me. So notice there's no switcher here. So here's what I want to do. I want to go back up because I already preset these scenes. Now here's the interesting thing. You notice this camera right here, right? Now, after 20 seconds, it's going to pull the shot in. Once it pulls the shot in, you're going to see it do a nice dissolve, a soft, slow Fulgens dissolve. That's a friend of mine. His name is Fulgens. And so notice it's here. It pulls in tight and it's going to nicely do a Fulgens. Oh. Boom. See that? And so this is another feature in Ecamm where you can take and use the transitions and you can set them for the individual scene. And so here's what I did. I took on the short ones where it pulls the shot in and it comes in close. I have it where on that particular scene, you can have it on a slow cross dissolve. So when it moves off of the tight shot, it does a nice soft transition into another shot. Okay. And so I don't know if it's doing it on this one. Okay. Somebody went dead. My camera went out. Sorry.